What's up, y'all? This is Muff Cabbage, and you listening to the LCC Network, where we keep it popping 24/7. You heard?
Hey everyone, welcome to the Commissioner's Clubhouse on the LCC Network for the second half of our Week 11 podcast. We're going over game of the week, or not game of the week, but the games left of the week. Yeah, I guess that's a way to say it. But yeah, Jameson, what's going on, man?
Hey, we are here. So they don't know that when we record the podcast during the regular season, we actually record both of them on Tuesday nights, back to back, right? So it's really weird that they're listening to this like a day or two later. We just finished recording the first episode, so I feel like a little bit of like deja vu right now, like going back through the intro. Just hit the outro button like 2 minutes ago. So I'm feeling a little weird right now, honestly. Just to be honest, I don't know why. I'm feeling a little weird, but no, I'm excited to be here. I love doing this. So we've got 7 more games to go through for this episode. We want to do a little bit differently this week. We want to give everyone plenty of time for discussion, to go through things, and make sure we kind of touched on everything we wanted to touch on, and make sure that everyone kind of had their team discussed this week. So we've got 7 left. We should have plenty of time. Pat, anything else you want to touch on? Or you think we're good to go?
No, I think we're good to go.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm not going to play the game of the week sound drop because that's reserved for game of the week. So we'll do another one here. I like that one. We don't get to play that one enough anymore. We need to find something to do more with that one.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
I like that one.
Reminds me of real football, you know?
Yeah. We need to find like the prime time stuff, like the NFL prime time, like dun 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 dun, like when they're, you know what I mean, like Sunday nights.
Week 12 next week is our last week of the regular season. Let's do a badass sound drop for that episode, or maybe like just a running sound drop through the episode. You know what I mean?
Like, or at least part of it, where like maybe it plays in the background for game of the week quietly.
Yeah.
And we can like talk about like they do when they're like, you know, in NFL prime time on the show when they used to do that.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay. All right. We'll do that. Hold us to that, guys. Make sure someone texts us. Charles, the third leg, 5-5, the first Mr. 400, versus Daquan, 8-2, just clinched his division this weekend. Pat, break this down for us a little bit.
Yeah. So, sorry, I'm having to scroll up just a little bit. There we go. So Charles and Daquan, this is a game. Obviously, Daquan's locked up in the division, so he can pretty much take a nap the rest of the regular season. I'm sure he doesn't want to. He wants to clinch a bye, maybe even home field advantage throughout. But Charles is right there on the edge of getting in the playoffs for the first time since he joined the league. I mean, I want to say 2014 was his first year.
I think so.
I could be wrong. Yeah,
something like that. 2015, maybe.
Yeah, so going on basically 5 years now. Finally, his shot at getting the playoffs. He's had a good year. I felt like he had a pretty decent offseason as well. So I don't know, man. This could be a game where we get the upset and everything. But I guess let me hop into the history real quick for you guys so we can talk about it a little bit more. But there it is. Hang on. Sorry, I just lost my freaking place. Oh, well, there it is. Okay. So, yeah, they played each other. Sorry.
We're professionals.
I was totally lost. Yeah, I swear.
Preparation is our absolute best aspect of our.
Yeah, we're very good at that.
Of our show.
Yeah. But no, I mean, these guys, this will be their 8th time playing each other. And the interesting thing, and I swear I've said this before, but Charles the only time any team has either swept either team was when Charles swept Daquan in the first year Charles joined, which I'm just now seeing 2015 was when he played him in week 2 and then week 11. But man, I'm telling you, I don't know why I've got a weird feeling that this could be a very, very close game.
Well, see, I had that feeling because I looked at Daquan's roster and it had 6 out of 10, which means it had 4 guys on bye. And I went, holy crap, that's a lot of players. And then I looked at it, and they're not. They're backups who were replacing guys who were on bye last week. So he has Ryan Tannehill and Derek Henry in his lineup, but they're both on bye. So he's going to put Tom Brady against the Eagles and Nick Chubb back in. So it's actually going to get even better, even though he's got 4 guys on bye. So
Well, he's losing Bobby Wagner and Logan Ryan. That's going to hurt.
yeah, but I think there's still enough there against Charles' team, starting some of the players that I'm not super fond of this week, especially LaMarcus Joyner, Tyrann Mathieu. I don't love those. But you're right. I think it's going to be very, very close because you look at Drew Brees, Mike Evans, TJ Watt. I think it could be very, very close, but I'm going to give the edge to Daquan in this one.
So right now, Charles is starting 2 defensive linemen, which generally speaking, I highly suggest you don't do that. He's got Joey Bosa and TJ Watt in the lineup. Would you sub one of those guys out for Leonard Fournette, who's playing against the Colts, or would you stick with what he's got?
You mean one of the linemen?
Yeah, in the
Oh
flex.
man, see Bosa. So Bosa.
Oh, sorry, he's starting 3 defensive linemen. He's starting Joey Bosa, TJ Watt, and Shaq Barrett.
I would not start Shaq Barrett against the Saints, and I know they just gave up 6 sacks. But you can guarantee they're going to correct that this week. Shaq Barrett's been pretty quiet. I know he got 1 sack last week, but that was against Arizona and Kyler Murray and that weak offensive line. I would probably take Shaq Barrett out, and I would plug a guy like Leonard Fournette in against the Colts. Nick Foles is back, so they should have an easier time moving the ball. I don't know how I feel about Shaq Barrett against the Saints there. But maybe he's going for a big play. Maybe he feels like he has to beat Daquan. He has to score a lot of points. Maybe he wants that really high upside of Shaq Barrett.
Yeah, which I can see why you're looking at it that way.
Or maybe he just hasn't set his lineup at all, and this was just the same roster he picked last week.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's very true.
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
It's only Tuesday night. So I'm picking Daquan. Is that who you're going with?
Yeah, I'm going to pick Daquan. Like I said, I think it's going to be very close. But I think if Charles makes those changes, I could see an upset. But for now, I'm going to go with Daquan in a very, very close game.
Okay. All right. And then we've got Colby and Cody. Colby 8-2, already won his division. Cody 5-5, clinging to that 6th spot right now. These guys have had to have played each other a few times at this point.
Yeah, a few times is, like you said, probably an understatement, honestly. They've played each other. This is just nuts. They've played each other 14 times since 2010. So this is making number 15. And they've played each other in the playoffs before. I mean, this is definitely one of the premier rivalries in the league. Colby won the last one in week 3 of this year. So obviously Cody's looking for revenge, desperately looking for revenge after losing 286 to 260. I don't know, though. Cody is not the same team as he was last year. Colby, I think, has gotten very lucky to be 8-2. I do not think that record accurately depicts the strength of his roster and how far he can go in the playoffs. But
I agree with that statement. I agree. The metrics just don't bear out an 8-2 start, in my opinion.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know if I'm going to have to pick Cody in this, honestly. I really like the matchups Cody has. I think, if I remember right, Colby's also losing a couple key players as well. Is that right?
Yeah, on defense. He's losing 2 defensive players, which is a big deal in our league. And Cody's matchups, you not only like them, you've got to love them. Deshaun Watson against Baltimore. I mean, albeit Colby's got Lamar Jackson, so I guess that'll kind of be a wash. But James Conner and Josh Jacobs, I love them both this week. I'm probably going to start both of them. Aaron Donald against Chicago. Darius Leonard, who had 86 points in our league last week. Chris Godwin against the Saints, what should be a shootout. I mean, they're almost all of Cody's matchups you have to love. I think he's going to go over 300 this week in back-to-back weeks, and I think we're going to really kind of see who Colby really is in this game, if that makes sense. We're going to see like a 282 or 285 score, and I think we're really going to see him exposed and Cody beat him this week.
No, I totally agree. The only thing I think may hurt Cody is Juju is going against Cleveland. They've got a pretty good pass defense this year, and it's Thursday night football, and it's in Cleveland. I'm not too excited about that or the James Conner matchup that same night. But other than that, I still think Cody can probably win this. And I mean, what a game, like, right? So Cody's obviously just on the edge of getting the playoffs. Colby's locked up the division. But I mean, they've played, I just can't get over the amount of times they've played each other over the past few years. And they've played each other in the semifinals of 2017 where Cody won. So it's going to be good. I'm really excited. This game, if Cody's record would have been better, this could have easily been game of the week.
Yeah, and I think that's what kept it from being game of the week is that one's already clinched the division, the other one hasn't. They're so far apart in that regard that we had to kind of make Billy and Cameron, who are actually fighting for a title right now, the game of the week there. So next game, Mufali 4-6 against Mondo, who is
slinging slasher
at 6-4 in the division. If Mondo wins this one, he clinches the division. If Mufali wins it, he makes it a game closer with one more to go. Mondo's rookie season, so they don't have a lot of history here. But what do we expect?
I think, well, they played each other week 2 of this year, and Mufali actually won that 320 to 221. That's just a slap down, a beat down, whatever you want to call it. It happened, and Mufali won. I don't know. I don't expect that same kind of score, though. I mean, obviously, Mondo's been up and down throughout the year. His ups have been very high. His lows have obviously been pretty low compared to a lot of teams. But I don't know. What went wrong for Mufali to end up at this point where he could easily be eliminated in the next week or two?
I think his receivers didn't help him. Stephon Diggs, OBJ's been, ass. Travis Kelce's been up and down. David Johnson he's had 2 weeks in a row now where you've started him when they said he's healthy, and he has just been disastrous for your roster. So I think that's part of it. To some degree, he's got some rookie players that haven't panned out as well. Darnell Savage has been okay. Devin Bush has been pretty solid. And we talked, especially early in the season, but he's had some injuries too. So I think season long, Mufali's had some issues, but I think he can win this game against Mondo.
I mean, I remember doing that interview with him, and I think I remember talking about his receiving core being maybe one of his weaker spots, and he acknowledged that during the offseason. So it's definitely come by him in the butt. Just probably not as bad as me, because my receivers just thought they're not performing. They're just like dead. They're hurt. They're in the they're in the emergency room apparently at times. Like if it can happen.
Yeah, thanks for that. By the way, your wide receiver curse hurts my NFL team with Tyler Lockett being potentially injured. So I appreciate the curse, the Grim Reaper curse.
Yeah, no
Patrick.
problem. No problem.
So I'm picking Mufali. You've got Mondo, according to the show doc.
Yeah, I'm going with Mondo in this just because I do think the loss of Preston Smith will hurt. He's had a pretty solid year. And then Mondo's, I think, proven that his weekly highs can be a little bit higher than Mufali's.
Okay. Hunter champions 8-2 versus Eastside Brawlers. John at 6-4. Two powerhouses right now of their respective conferences. Hunter not far off from clinching a title. Should be able to do it with a win this week. John is not going to be able to clinch a title with a win this week, but could put himself in a good spot if he were to try to win his next 2 games here. Pat, break it down for us real quick.
Well, there's absolutely no history between these teams, so I can't really say much from that perspective. But when you look at the franchise history between both teams, I mean, Hunter's never missed the playoffs, first of all, and he's not about to miss the playoffs, obviously, because he's clinched. Well, he hasn't clinched a playoff berth, I guess, has he? I can't remember.
Has he? I don't
think 8
think
games. So
I'm trying to think if he's. I think he has. He has clinched at this point at least a wild card, just not a division title.
Right. So, I mean, look at that. My dad. I think we're looking at the best season he's ever had in the regular season, at least. It's going to be good. It's going to be really good. This is one I thought should have been game of the week, honestly. It doesn't have the implications as Detroit Bad Boys versus Spurs in terms of divisional race, but two teams that are trying to get a first round bye, two teams that I just don't see, obviously I don't see my dad missing the playoffs. I don't see Hunter not getting a first round bye. Like we had alluded to earlier, I think Cody's going to be Colby, and I think that's going to hurt him, and he's going to end up falling into the wild card race. Or not the wild card race, but he'll be competing in the wild card. This is going to be good. I mean, losing Russell Wilson freestyle brawlers will hurt because he's going to have to replace him with Kyle Allen. Then Logan Ryan's also out. But when you got a guy like Landon Collins as your backup to Logan Ryan, things are good. You're living the high life. Let me tell you.
That is a luxury. I don't want to hear about your first world problems when Landon Collins is back as a backup to your guys who are on bye week. Like, get the hell out of here. Like, the rest of us are streaming guys who are like playing on gimpy legs and stuff because we need someone who can get us 22 points. Like, we definitely don't want to hear about that. But no, he's definitely not in a bad situation. Although I normally don't think quarterbacks are that big of a deal. I think a quarterback could be a difference here. I mean, I know that Hunter's got Jared Goff, but it is at home, and Jared Goff is significantly better at home, even against Chicago's defense, which has been a little, kind of a step down from what it was last year. I don't trust Kyle Allen, even though it's at home against Atlanta. They came off the big win against the Saints. I don't trust Kyle Allen to lead your dad there. And I'm changing my pick from John to Hunter on the show.
See, I'm actually totally opposite. I love Kyle Allen for this week against Atlanta. They've got the 25th best pass defense. It's even worse than Green Bay, and he put up 39 against Green Bay. I literally watched him play in Arizona in perfect conditions against a very poor defense there and put up 44. Atlanta is just as bad, their defense, and it's in Charlotte. I think Kyle Allen's actually going to have a good game. This is probably his last good game we'll see for fantasy football, at least, probably until he plays Atlanta again in week 14. But I like it. I honestly really, really like this matchup. I'm not saying he's going to score as much as Jared Goff, but Jared Goff is playing against Chicago, or I guess it's in LA, but still, dude, Chicago's defense, I am not looking forward to that if that's my fantasy quarterback's opponent.
So you're taking so you did say Kyle Allen. That's what you said earlier, Kyle Allen.
Yeah.
So it's not like
what did you say?
You said Kyle Allen, but you said it like really close together. You're like Kyle Allen. Like Kyle Allen. So you're gonna take a little. And
I'm gonna take the elite Carolina Panthers quarterback named Kyle and Kyle Allen. I think it's a pretty fair matchup between those two quarterbacks. I'm going to pick Eastside Brawlers.
Okay, that's fair enough. Amusement Park here, 4-6 versus Jordan at 4-6. Two teams who have underwhelmed expectations. Great rosters. They both have had injuries. In fact, they both got Saquon Barkley, who has been horrible. By the way, do you know how many yards Saquon Barkley got last week? Rushing
looking,
yards?
no, I have no idea.
Rushing yards? If you just had to guess, if you just had to throw a number out, what would you say?
I'm just now seeing it, so I'm trying not to laugh, but it's too funny. I was going to say maybe 60. I mean, I know the Jets' rushing defense is good, but my God.
A yard. He rushed 13 times for 3 feet. He went 3 feet. You gotta be able to fall further than that, I would think.
Jesus.
3 feet. So it's been a rough ride for Saquon Barkley and his owners. So Jordan against Hunter here. They haven't played each other before, have they?
Sorry, I've got to look it up. I was not ready for that.
Oh, see, reason. You got two.
No, they have not.
Saquon. Okay. All right,
they have never played each other before. They got the same record though, 4-6. Peyton's on a 4-game winning streak. Jordan just lost this past week, and it's been a rough second half of the year overall. Remember how good he started? Another team that started off really well, just like myself, honestly. I got lucky. I got 2 more wins after the second half, I think, than he did, or something like that. But yeah, I mean, it's been rough.
Yeah. Is it 6 straight now? No, one straight. Sorry, he won the week
Yeah.
before, but he had lost like 5 or 4 up to that point. Yeah, Peyton right now too has absolutely caught fire. I went on the show last week, said I didn't trust him, picked against him. He blew up. He's won 4 in a row now. He's competing with Cameron and Billy for the division. Jordan kind of on the other side of that situation. But I mean, what are your thoughts on this particular matchup this week? Peyton has a significant amount of players on bye: Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, Bobby Wagner. It's going to be tough to replace those guys.
No, it is. I don't know if you can truly replace those guys, especially when you got Saquon on a bye too. I mean, it doesn't make it any better. I've got to give it to Jordan this, honestly, because those buys. I know Deion Jones has been a huge letdown across the entire IDP fantasy world. I even had him, and I got rid of him as soon as I could. But they're playing against Carolina, man. I would imagine Christian McCaffrey's obviously going to be heavily involved, just like he always is, hopefully, knock on wood. So I would imagine because of that, Deion Jones should have a big game.
Yeah, there's
hopefully
got to
for Jordan's
be.
sake.
Yeah, there's got to be opportunity there for him at this point. If he doesn't perform well in this game, when does it ever happen? So
Yeah.
there should be a lot of opportunity for him. I'm actually going to pick Jordan in this one as well. I think at one point I had chosen Peyton, but after looking back to the rosters and the matchups and listening to the best co-host, one of the best co-hosts in the world, you and Isaac, and Isaac's not here unfortunately, but convinced me otherwise. So I'm going to go with Jordan in this matchup too.
Yep. I agree, definitely.
Week 11, 11th matchup here. We back versus Finkla Einhorn. Both teams 3-7. Don't want to spend too much time on this because they don't have any history. I don't believe. Matthew Watchhorn, probably not a whole lot worth discussing there. I don't think. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. Obviously, one team's in the hunt with Big Os, obviously, in this. They have played each other once before, which is actually funny. It was 2015, week 6. We defeated Team Watchhorn. That was their team name at the time, 194 to 151. I can see it being like a solid 40-point spread at the end of the game. Obviously, the score is not going to be the same, but the spread, I could see that.
Yeah, and even though Big Oz has got more players on bye, I'm gonna expect his ability to work the waiver wire and his activity to carry him this week, especially since he still has a shot to catch Mike and actually win that division. Like we said last week, you're always alive. Under 5, always alive in the Elite 12 North.
I love that.
That should be one of our slogans or a sound drop or something. Under 5, always alive in the Elite 12 North. So Big Oz is still alive. I'm sure he's going to be fighting for that spot there. So because of what I expect, I'm going to go ahead and give the win, the predicted win to Big Oz here.
Yeah, no, I'm giving it to Big Oz as well. Hopefully this confidence doesn't just totally jinx it for him and cause him to get upset here. But I feel pretty confident. I'm going to go Big Oz in this matchup.
All right, cool. And our final matchup here, Beg for G-Reg BP versus Vegetarians, which is Storm. Storm has been officially eliminated from the playoff contention, so I'm not sure. Oh, wait, you know what? I've actually got that. 1 second. I'm not sure how active he's going to be here the last 2 weeks of the season, so I guess we'll see what happens. BP, on the other hand, fighting for a playoff spot, still very, very much alive for the division title. So what can we expect?
Well, I think this is kind of where we see BP come back to life. He's lost back-to-back games, but Storm's lost 4 straight games. At one point, he was 3-4. He had just beaten me, and now he's 3-7. He's eliminated from the playoffs. At this point, he could easily clinch like the first overall pick in the draft for next year. It's how things change so quick in this league. But no, I like I said, I do think BP is going to win. I mean, Storm is losing Kevin Byard, which is going to hurt. But he's got Jamie Collins playing against Philadelphia. Maybe he gets a little more busier because he's playing against the Eagles. But when you flip it over to BP, that he's losing Harold Landry, who's had a pretty solid year, honestly. But I think he has a little bit more depth to recover from that bye. Whereas Storm is going to hurt a lot more because his bench, I'll just run through them real quick. You got Ronald Jones, Darius Geis, James White, and Jamie Collins are some of the better options this week, and none of them are really good.
Yeah. None of them are good. Yeah, I don't love BP's linebacking situation there with Harold Landry out, Danny Trevathan doubtful, but he does have Cunningham and Davis to back it up. And Davis, Storm actually has Davis too, so they could kind of cancel out, I guess, there. So with that being said, I think it's an ugly game, but I'm going to give it to BP.
Yeah, no, I don't blame you. I'm definitely going BP in this matchup and keeping him still alive in the playoff hunt for the division and the wild card. Oh, you know what?
Yep. Unfortunately,
I realized we totally skipped my matchup with Isaac, but I don't think it's a big deal. I'm on the show. Isaac, he's usually on the show.
But yeah, just the two of you guys. You've beat him. You beat him 4-3. You actually have never. You've always split in the LCC. And I'm picking Isaac in that one. Sorry, buddy.
No, I don't.
He's got great
matchup
this week.
It's not even just his matchups. I think some of mine are just kind of. I'm not saying our game won't be close, but I do have to figure out kind of my flex position. Losing Blake Martinez is definitely going to hurt.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, that's it for week 11. Good luck. And
real quick.
Yeah.
I do think it's worth mentioning. So next week, guys, will be our last week of the season where we're going to do multiple episodes in the same week. After this, we'll be going to, or after week 12, we'll be going to one episode a week for the playoffs, just because not as many matchups go over, not as many things going on. So we're just going to spend a little bit extra time talking about the playoff matchups and stuff instead.
Yep, exactly. And maybe doing some other stuff, maybe for the league or focusing on our playoff matchups, hopefully. So we'll kind of shrink it down a little bit just for the playoffs and then get back to our regular schedule again in the off season. And the off season is almost here already.
I love it and I hate it in a weird way.
Unbelievable. All right, guys. Well, good luck in week 11 for all those who are in the playoff hunt, and we'll see you on the show next week. Goodbye.